2006 Toyota Camry, and today we're going to be knocking out the driver's CV axle and CV axle seal right on this side of the car. Let's get to it. Alright, step one is obviously going to be removing the tire. Unfortunately, I don't know what lug nut size you have because he has these aftermarket ones that require this tool right here to remove them. I hate because they always get jammed up in here. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the axle nut, and it's a 30mm 12-point socket. Absolute favorite when people cross thread the freaking bolts. Amazing. If you're gonna cross thread bolts, or especially an axle thing like this, don't work on cars, just don't do it. Take your car to a professional. It's ridiculous. Good thing we're replacing the axle because now it has to be replaced. Next, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a little punch. We're going to tap that axle to make sure that it slides in and out freely and it's not froze up. This one looks to be in pretty good shape. Now, my favorite part about this job, and probably going to be the favorite part of yours, is that the Camrys that Toyota made this model year, I don't know if this counts for other model years, but this one at least has the unboltable lower ball joint. So it's just these two nuts and this one bolt right here, and you can just slide this right off. And it's just fantastic. I love it. A lot of Deutschland cars, they have those too. It's a very good idea. I think all cars should have this. They are 19mm. Make sure when you're taking these off, you don't lose the crush washer that comes with them. Anyway. You know what I'm talking about? Look how nice that is. It's just wonderful. When they actually think about what they're doing and their engineers do a good job. Just the best thing ever. Look at that. CV axle. My tripod doesn't really go up that high, so I'm just going to keep angling the camera, but CV axle is out. I mean, that's just the best thing ever. Look at all that space it gives you. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a little catch can, because you can lose transmission fluid when you remove the CV axle from the transmission side. Let me check my camera, make sure that's a good angle. Not really. Okay, so now we're going to get our pry bar. We'll just go ahead and put it in her and try to get a good bite on that CV axle right in there, just like that. Once you got a good bite on it, you can give this a good smack. And there you have it, pop right out. Hopefully it popped all the way out. It did not. Put our pry bar in there and just give it a little more wiggle. And it's free. Huzzah! CV axle. Oh, you can see that right there. Let me put the tripod down. You can see how this joint right here is just busted. Should not be that loose. He was getting a lot of clicking noises. He was getting a lot of clicking or thumping noises, especially when going from like drive to reverse, or like, you know, out of park into gear, and it would just kind of like clunk, and that's how you know that that inner joint is bad. The bearings are either worn out, or sometimes they actually just separate and they'll get into the boot area, and you'll be driving around with just like one ball joint. I think there's supposed to be 3, but anyway, so if you got a thumping noise like that, it's probably that inner joint. Typically, if you have a clicking while turning your wheels and like going around a corner, that's usually the outer joint over here. If you look inside of where we just pulled the CV axle out, you can see our seal sitting right here. He does have a transmission leak coming from there, so we're going to go ahead and replace that seal as well. And I had to buy 2 seals because I'm never really too sure what transmission this is, because they did have 2 different transmissions apparently for this vehicle, and I never know which one is which. So I usually just buy both of the seals, and then I just return whichever one I don't use. I need my tripod to just work. Can you do that for me, tripod? They call me tripod. Now they do have seal removal tools. Unfortunately, I don't have one. So I'm just going to do it the wrong way and use this flathead screwdriver. Get your screwdriver. Get yourself a tool that's got some weight behind it. Just give it some taps. Do not smack the crap out of this with some 5-pound hammer. The goal is to get it wedged between the gasket or the seal and the metal sleeve that the seal sits on. Like so, and now we're going to pry it up while continually tapping it to get it deeper into its groove. And now we got it loosened up. Sometimes you can just pull it out, but I guess that's not going to happen this time. Yes. Well done. Now look, Now I know that to people watching that might have looked like it was really difficult. It's not hard, but like I was doing, just take your time and try to be as gentle as possible, because you don't want to scar this inner wall right here, but you do want to make sure it's nice and clean. So I'm going to spray a little bit of brake clean around there real quick. There we go. All right, with the old seal out, these are the two new ones, and as you can see, they are very different, and that's why I recommend just buying both of the seals, because you never know which one you're going to need. For our vehicle, we're going to be using this one. For part number reference, that is the National Oil Seal 710732. Let's go ahead and pop this in real quick. We're going to grab some transmission fluid. We're just going to roll that around on the outer edge of our new seal. Give it a little bit of lubrication. And then when you put these in, if you look right here, you can see that little spring that goes right in there. I think that's showing up on camera. There's a small spring right inside of that inner lip. The spring always faces the inside. Alright, sorry about that. Forgot to turn my camera back on after that phone call I got. To put the CV axle back in, just get yourself a nice small hammer and tap around the circumference of the gasket as you're, or the seal as you're putting it in, gently as possible. Just gently slide it in. You know, take your time with it, get it nice and even in the hole, and you're golden. That's all you need to worry about. It's nice and flush all the way around, exactly how it needs to be. Alright, with the new seal in place, we're going to go ahead and install our new CV axle. Before I forget, just a reminder to top off your transmission fluid after this repair is finished. We lost not a whole lot, but you know, just double check your transmission fluid level, make sure you're good, and add as needed. And the CV axle we're going to be using is a CarQuest November Charlie Victor 69577. Once you get it popped into place, you may need to rotate it or give it a little bit of a wiggle to get it into this position. But once you get it into that spot, go ahead, run your new nut out to the till it is flush with the head of the CV axle. Get yourself a hammer that's got a little bit of weight on it. Press in and just give this a couple taps. As you can see right here, our CV axle has been pushed all the way inside of the transmission and is properly seated. All right, and then from here we just go ahead, slide it back into the steering knuckle, obviously removing the nut first. put your nut on by hand so you don't cross thread it, and just put that down hand tight for now. You don't need to crank on or nothing like that. We still want to be able to move this, but we don't want to accidentally pull this joint back here out of its socket, because that can be a real pain in the butt. But other than that, just put everything back together, bolt everything back down, and you're good to go. If this video helped you out, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.